Mayad Hotel and greetings. This is ASAR tapping around my eye. I found this video footage that I was looking at this morning, and I found it to be very interesting. It's really synonymous with a lot of the conceptualizations that I've come to discover myself to be a part of our world and part of the dynamics that is causing so much decadence and misfortune into the lives of the earth recipients. I just want to show you that there's other people out here who share the same accusations of Zionism and world oppression and world decadence. That is not me. The reason I go out here to find this stuff and point it out to people is so everyone can hear my same message from different forms of mediocrity, different forms of concerned people who feel the need to do the mimicking of the same actions that I'm doing. My actions are based on my true love for self and the other recipients of the earth. I do not find it pleasant. I find it very disturbing and alarming to me to watch the decadence. When I see the circumstances in our neighborhoods, single mothers, men with no women, it's like our society has been formatted for us to go out and ritualize actions that keep decadence active. I mean, it doesn't make sense for people to be around that can accommodate each other, but they just don't do it. I mean, I see so many qualified connections that could be made that would make things work, but these connections are all pushed apart from each other. And the purpose of that is to make sure that certain groups of people just stay victimized and oppressed by other groups of people. The saddest part of all is that there are some people who believe that they are privileged over others and don't see their circumstances as being as dire as they are, because they look at other people's circumstances that are less fortunate than they are, and then that gives them the opportunity to see them circumstances as not being bad. But they are bad. Just because your circumstance is not as bad as mine, or someone whose circumstances is worse than mine are, doesn't mean that your circumstances are bad proof. Your circumstances are bad too. You just can't see that because you're busy looking at my circumstances. But what you don't understand is that my circumstances are your circumstances, because we are all responsible for each other. That's what I've been sent here to point out to the world. That's what my whole energy is based on. I have but one objective on the earth, and that is to point everybody to the ideal that we are all the same thing, and that if I don't help you, I am neglecting myself. That's what it's all about. So when you see people that's just so unnecessarily quick to want to look down on somebody or think they're better than someone, and then when the people that's not doing well have the nerves to be frowned on, this is really bad. Because see, when these people that's not doing well moves on and die or go to prison or whatever, the system needs someone else to become that person, and not someone else. It's probably the person that sits around and don't see the necessity to get involved and stop this stuff from happening before it comes to them. See, with me, my unique self, I have had all kind of crazy things happen to me that I've been able to combat and get an overstanding of. But I know there's other people out here in the world that is not that fortunate. I can see the state of misconception that a lot of the young black men out here have. They really believe that we live in a world who's going to provide jobs for them and things like that. But I know for a fact the only thing these jobs do is keep you stagnated. So when you do become an old man and all these jobs decide to kick you around and have no use for you anymore, what happens then is that you really see how you wasted your whole life to someone who didn't have your best interest at heart. They did not care. All they wanted to do was use you, and they paid you as less as they could, stopped you from being as much as you could, and deliberately did it. So my job has been ordained to me from our Creator, the Son. The Son has made it perfectly clear to me that I am to come and speak to the people here on this planet and do everything necessary to try to get you all back on the track of understanding the importance of one man helping another man, and all of men taking care of the women and the children. Okay, men are not supposed to be at war with each other all the time and thinking that if you kill this man, you got the right to rape his woman. No, that's crazy. This is crazy madness that has been on our earth too long, and it's still happening, and it needs to stop. The citizens of every country on this planet need to stop sitting around watching the news tells you that another country got invaded and nobody cares, and you sit home in your little living room and eat your little TV dinner and drink your juice or your beer and smoke your cigarettes and don't care. And it's like, that's why that stuff is happening. So I just want you guys to see that there's other people out here that has the same evaluation, the same synopsis about this world as I do. So let me go ahead and let this start, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Peace and blessings.
We turn now to modern Western civilization and their view concerning the movement of history and the end of history. This is the most fascinating one of all. One, modern Western civilization, and I have studied it for a long time, is an amazing phenomenon in history. It is unique. No civilization in history ever was like this. It is the first time in history that a civilization has emerged like this. For example, it is the first civilization in history which has been able to acquire that power to dominate the whole world in such a way that the entire rest of the world combined cannot threaten its power. That never happened before in history. Where did they get that power from? They got it from an amazing scientific and technological revolution, which is still unfolding. Many more amazing things to come that will dazzle you. And the emergence of this modern scientific and technological revolution cannot be explained from the analysis of historical phenomena. No, it is an absolutely unique event in human history. Modern Western civilization uses that unprecedented power to oppress.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
It is one of the greatest oppressors that history has ever seen. Modern Western civilization is also decadent to its very core. It is a civilization that is rotting at its very core, while yet at its periphery it glitters like gold. Never before in history do we have a legal certificate for a man marrying a man. It's the first time. That is an indication of the decadence of the civilization. And those who have the impertinence to criticize a man marrying a man are declared to be suffering from a disease called homophobia. Something is wrong with these people. They're homophobics because they oppose a man marrying a man and a woman marrying a woman.
Now, we all know that there's nothing homophobic about that. That is just a person that is genuinely concerned about where his society or her society is going. But when you have a government that will tell you that you're homophobic for thinking that way, what that is an indication to you that someone is pulling the wool over your head, because you should have a government that be standing firm with your accusation that some things are just not to be tolerated and some things are disruptive to the natural balance of things. And if homosexuality is not disruptive to the natural balance of things, then I don't know what is. I believe that people should have a right to do anything they want to do as long as it doesn't infringe on the privacy or the property or whatever type of violation to another person. Go right ahead. But the thing is, almost every action that a human commits on this planet does in one way or another form some type of circumstance in another human being's life. And this is why we have to have a society that's based on the rules ordained, implemented by the people, and not by some of the people, or all of the people that are genuinely concerned to make sure that certain things are not to be found as normality in your society, because you'll have people smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, doing all kind of things that we know people are just doing without any restraint right now, especially the homosexual stuff. All right, so we all know that.
Modern Western civilization, which has this awesome and unprecedented power, which is oppressing mankind, modern Western civilization, which is also decadent to its very core, also is a civilization with amazing powers of deception. Appearance and reality are always different from each other in all that pertains to this revelation, this civilization.
If they say they do love you, then why are they capturing Benghazi and they say they're against you there? Why are they in...
It is a guide, it is a guide, it is a guide, look my people, it is a guide. A guide, yeah. They can go outside.
That's why we are talking about false allegations and distortion of reality.
In the following sense, what you're dealing with here are death squads. You're dealing here with terror commandos, the kind of thing that everybody remembers from Argentina and Central America. This is a typical CIA method. In this case, it's a joint production of CIA, MI6, Mossad, the DECAY of the French. It's got money coming from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar.
It is a civilization with a mission in the world. We used to hear it in the days of colonialism. This is called in international relations called jingoism. That we have a mission to civilize mankind. And this mission took them not only to colonize the rest of the world, that's bad enough, but that didn't end the story. When they colonize a part of the world, they do not leave, they do not decolonize until and unless they have put in place institutions which will ensure that that society will continue to be ruled by them by proxy.
Okay, now see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The word colonizing means to take over. Now, these lands that we all occupy here, known as America, is not land synonymous with European people. We all know the history. The European people came here, murdered the indigenous people here, or the autochthonous people that was here, murdered them, usurped their government, and turned the natives that was here into slaves, and brought other people from other lands here and enslaved them also too. They brought up slaves, black people from Africa, enslaved them here, along with the indigenous black race of people that was here already. They were both families that merged with each other and knew of each other's existence and traveled to and from Africa. People leaving here going to Africa, and people leaving Africa going here. That it was a big commerce of exchange and all type of stuff going on that they try to make you think no one was possible to have in existence until the white man came on earth. That's not true. The white man came on earth where everything was established and running real good and adjusted to where everyone was living well. He came and changed all that with his corruption. Now he goes all over the world to all these places, murders everyone, sets up his governments, and put up a style of government that everything will be extracted from these lands and sent to his land of Europe. So Europe is living fabulous. Everyone got medical coverage. Everyone living good, no problems, no poverty. But then all the other people around the world is going through all type of holocausts and their sacrifices. They're being sacrificed. Their bodies are being given to these Jewish gods as sacrifices for power, for wealth, and all this foolish stuff that they're doing. And this is what's going on all around the planet. Everywhere you go on this planet, it's controlled and operated and ran by these Zionists. And these Zionists has but one thing in mind, and that is to create nothing but hell on earth, where everyone suffer, can't go to the dentist, can't buy a loaf of bread, but they all living very well and very good. And I'm not the only person that feel that way, because you can hear this guy right here saying the same thing. And it's just the truth. It is the truth.
And in the process, they seek to transform the rest of mankind into carbon copies of themselves. This never happened before in history. If I do not seek to understand what's happening here, then I've got peanuts in my head. When will I wake up? When will I begin to think? When will the world have more to me than McDonald's hamburgers?
Okay, now you guys know I'm always getting at McDonald's all the time. Now listen, I do not know this guy. This video is something that I just came across this morning. I never heard this guy say anything before. I never knew he existed, but I saw his video and the title of it caught me, so I started watching it. And the more I started watching it, I say, this guy is on the same page that I'm on. After the first maybe 4 or 5 minutes, I changed. But now he didn't even start getting at McDonald's. And you know, that is one of the things that I see that is the greatest form of decadence in this world. When someone moves into your life and starts feeding you their food, okay? Now you are a severely controlled person now, because you are getting your ingestion from someone else who doesn't have your best interest at heart, because this person wants to make a profit off of you eating. That means that you're not going to be eating the best of food, and you're going to be paying a lot for it, because someone wants to get rich off of your ignorance. So now you're eating food that's not good for you, and you're giving money to the same people that wants to get rich off of your ignorance. That's the reason why I bash fast food restaurants, because first of all, eating at a fast food restaurant is a sign of ignorance. I don't care what anyone says. You do not know who's working in that place. You do not know the circumstance of this person or anything. And you should not be putting anything in your body that you do not know the origin of it. That's just bottom line. People need to wake up. You have all been put to sleep so bad that you would let anyone feed you. You do not know who made that hamburger that you're giving to your son. And you don't even know what the meat is. Just because they told you it's 100% ground beef, it's not sufficient enough information for you to just grab that thing, give it to your son. He's only 2 years old, and you let him eat that. You are an unfit mother or unfit father if you're doing that. You should have had your butt at home getting your food out of a proper garden that you grew yourself and preparing food for your son, so you know your son is getting food that's not going to kill him. Same if your child is a daughter. Same thing apply. I just pick son, but don't think that I don't mean women included too, all right? Thing is, most of the people that I've seen on this earth feed fast food meals to their children too much. It's a waste of money. It's bad for their health, and it does not develop any self-reliance skills as to where that child will be developed more rapidly if you was in the kitchen talking to that child while you was preparing a meal for him or her, and then y'all both sat down and ate the meal together. That is the family togetherness that's missing when you go hop in the car and drive to McDonald's. You are really robbing yourself as well as your child of precious moments that y'all could be sharing together in that kitchen, cutting tomatoes, cutting cucumbers, talking and experiencing life like that, other than hopping in the car, speeding through traffic, racing with all this competition with everybody else, hopping in that line at McDonald's to get that crazy food that's not even going to be properly prepared because it's probably going to be cold fries and all that stuff that we all know go on with that. Okay, somebody got a cold, they just wipe their nose with snot and every damn thing. Or what about the person went in the bathroom and even though the sign is there, wash your hands when you're done, they don't. You know, I used to deliver pizzas, and I know for a fact a lot of guys that delivered pizzas with me would come off from delivering the pizza and go right to the make line and start making a pizza. And I'd be like, man, do you know that you getting ready to take that pizza to someone's house and they're going to feed that to them children? You should wash your hands. Oh, it's okay. And you know, it got to the point where I got so tired of trying to tell people to be responsible and have some concern for the people that is your customer. How can you come in here and just slap that pizza for them and you know you've been out there handling money, digging in your butt and everything you could have been doing, and now you're in here getting ready to make a pizza. You go wash your hands. And then the guy just, it's okay. You know, I wasn't a lead person in a position where I could make them do it, or I couldn't be the person that go and tell the supervisor, hey, this dude don't watch it, because I already know that stuff get you in trouble with co-workers on job, especially if they are white and you black. Now they all gonna team up and come at you like you did something wrong, and the only thing you did is try to point out to the guy, look man, why don't you take your job serious? You shouldn't be doing that. You know, that's the problem with our world. Real serious people get victimized by the bullshit joke people on this planet that has taken everything. So I like this guy video, and I got a lot of stuff inside of my archive of how I perceive things that is synonymous with this guy. So I'm going to turn this back on and let him do his work.
What's happening here? They seek to transform the whole world into carbon copies of themselves. When they shave off the beard, then the civilized thing to do for the rest of mankind is to shave off the beard. And if you do not shave off the beard, you pay a price for that. You cannot be in the security industry. You can't be a police officer. You can't be in the military. Tomorrow you won't be able to work in a bank if you have a beard. You can't be prime minister if you have a beard. And then when their women take off their head covering, then they expect all the rest of the world to follow suit. And when your women stick to the head covering, then they say, well, you know, this is a cultural matter. They're not doing this because of religion. It's just Malay culture.
Okay, I'm glad he touched on that, because the promiscuity of the European race has spread it and caused decadence on the whole planet. There has never been people that were so quick to answer to their sexual fantasies and everything without trying to have any type of restraint or control over their desires, until the invent of you only live once, live today because you die tomorrow, all that foolishness that has come on the earth and just made people become total idiots and do whatever the hell they want to do. For a long time here on this earth, we had cultures and civilizations that knew it was important for a woman to keep her attractions, if you will, not readily available to entice a man glances, you know. And this is a matter of fact, a lot of places around Africa, the women walked around braless with titties exposed and never got the excitement or the notice that a woman with a bra on gets here in this country now. And it's all because of the conditioning of the minds. See, the Europeans exploit and sell and extort everything as much as they can. And what I mean by that is the upper anarchy, not anarchy, but the upper hierarchy that's in charge of mediocrity and advertisement and all that. They perpetuate women to go out and be cladly dressed and promiscuous and always on the leading invite to sexual encounter, favoritizing glances from men that look for women that dress a certain way. And then when you see that out there, the next thing you know, you propositioning her and this and that. And then there's the prostitution and all the cosmetics that go along with that. And so it's a vibrant industry. The thing is, left alone, there would still be women on the earth who knew how to be obedient to the commandments of God and to not walk around displaying themselves as whores and women that are easy. No, you are supposed to be a goddess and you need to carry yourself that way. You should not smoke cigarettes. You should not be eating meat. You should not be having sex with 3, 4, 5, 10, 50, all these men. Some women done had sex with so many men. It's like, you're just filthy. And the thing is, you got to understand that the only reason that stuff is going off because we have a government that does not scorn it. We have a government that does not find themselves being in any type of arranging atmosphere to eradicate these type of behaviors. If anything, they are trying their best to elevate them and give them permission to fly and reproduce, because they get rich off of the ignorance of people, because everything you do, you pay them. So if you're buying foolishly, they're making a killing off of something that's not even hard for them to produce. So that's the reason why I'm glad and I'm loving this guy for addressing the fact that the women who's keeping their heads covered up and trying to keep their vanity at bay as to not be alluring to men and everything is still somewhere on the earth. It needs to be more on the earth. But at least that's a start when you know that the woman is concerned about what type of signals she's going to be sending out. That's the best thing that's needed on this earth to restore it to a God calibration. It's for the woman to start being responsible for herself again and take her responsibility and her self-planning and everything away from the government and get back to yourself and rely on your man and stop looking at your man as if he's not shit and you don't need him, and then you depending on a government that doesn't want to do shit but make you be a hoe or a prostitute or somebody they can just come and do whatever they want to you whenever they want to. And that's what our society is. You have people becoming homeless like never before right now because of the circumstances that I'm speaking to you guys about right now.
Their obsession is to transform the rest of the world into carbon copies of themselves. And in order to further this process of transformation of mankind into carbon copies of themselves, they bring to the world something called globalization. So the whole world becomes connected. When you were a boy, you had to send a telegram to London, and the telegram would reach 2-3 days later. You had to go to the telegraph office to send a telegram. And now today your son picks up the phone, he calls daddy direct dialing. And not from the home phone anymore. He picks out the phone out of his pocket. Cell phone. The whole world becomes interconnected. And as the world becomes interconnected, television is used as the master instrument for brainwashing the rest of mankind and causing mankind to become copycats of the West. The Prophet said, Allah's blessings be upon him, he said, if you forget everything I said tonight, please don't forget this. These words of the Blessed Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him. He said, Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whosoever imitates another people belong to that people. You have abandoned me. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. This man who used to sit on the floor and eat with his hands. This man is the best, the perfect example for mankind. If you do not follow me, but you follow them, and you imitate them, you belong to them, you don't belong to me. And so modern Western civilization has this obsession of transforming the whole world into carbon copies of itself. Modern Western civilization has also given to the world one of the strangest revolutions mankind has ever witnessed. It's the modern feminist revolution. But the modern feminist revolution is already presiding over the destruction of the family unit. And as the family unit disintegrates, society falls apart. And it's anarchy.
See, that's just what I just said. Now, I see women in this city, black girls, really beautiful black girls too, you know, that's right here in Vancouver. And I see them, and you know, they're young, a lot of them, and single. I see them.